Since some years back, I've been conducting meditation for groups of women who have been suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, that is PTSD. And the idea or the vision behind doing this series of meditation came into our mind when a professor from Miami University, Ohio, came to visit Dharamsala, and her field is in anthropology, and her interest is in Tibetan Buddhism and meditational practices and like that. And her name is Dr. Deborah Eckers. She's a professor at Miami, Ohio. And when she happened to be in Dharamsala, I requested her to sponsor a monk who has just came from Tibet. So then I showed the monk, and the monk could not really talk to her, could not face her, and he seemed to be very depressed and could not look into the eyes of the sponsor, and look, of course, not into our eyes. And he was distressed, and he was going through a series of symptoms that are related to, PTSD. And then when we inquired about his situation, then we had a story that, he was traumatized in Tibet, he was tortured in the prison and like that, and he had went through so many difficult situations, and because of that, such things, he was still in such bad shape. So then Dr. Deborah Eckers was very much surprised, and she came to my office that this monk, his name is Loche, and he must be going through some difficulties, and he must be, according to Western way of looking at his, he has this PTSD, and what are you going to do with him now? She asked me. And I said, let's wait and see. One thing usually that happens is that we do have such cases. It's not an unusual case. We do have many cases like that when the Tibetans come out from Tibet. So one thing what we have is a very wonderful community support. That's a really wonderful thing. They have a platform to share their difficulties, not just with the individual monks or nuns like that. They can go into Tibetan communities and then share what they have done, what they had, and when they were in prison, what the tortures they went on like that. So such way of sharing the difficulties of the past also can be very, very helpful in releasing the emotional distress. That's one thing what we have in the Tibetan community in exile. Secondly, whoever comes to India from Tibet gets an audience from His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And then the audience itself helps so much in healing their mental torture and mental trauma like that. Many really just by getting to see him and getting his blessing and getting his advices, get to release their emotional problems. That's the second thing. And then thirdly, we have series of meditational practice. Individually they can do, and then of course at group base too, they can do series of these meditational practices. And then of course, being a spiritual community, there's so many things without getting to teach by someone else. You learn just by yourself. So you can pick up so many things for your own practice and get yourself healed like that. So I said, Dr. Deborah Eckers, don't worry about him. We have had many cases like him, and as time passes by, he will be healed. So then, after 2 years, she comes back, and then she gets to see her monk, and the monk is totally changed, very much transformed. And the monk now is able to talk to her, able to relate about everything what he wants to talk to her. Not only that, I think in their emails, seemed monk had asked a DVD player, and he asked for, where's my DVD player? Like that. So, and she says, here, it's your DVD player. So in this way, she was so happy to see her monk, to be transformed, to get healed in this kind of practical ways of doing what we have in India. So that really made us to work together something for women's suffering with this kind of problem. And we started with this kind of program in Ohio in collaboration with Ohio State Mental Health and Miami University. And there's an NGO called Amethyst, and where the women live as in residence, and they helped us to send their clients to us, and in this way we conducted meditational practices for them. So that's how we have started this kind of really interesting and good program for healing PTSD. Yeah.
Can you describe the program that you took the women through?
Yeah, we have done this program 2 times. In the first program, we had like about 19 women. I'm not sure exact number, but around 19 women. And then in the second program, we had about around the same number of women who have, every one of them has some stories of difficulties. Every one of them has some stories of past, abuse or sexual abuse or domestic abuse and violence and then getting into drugs and going through very, very serious situations in their life. And now they have come over to this rehab Amethyst, where they get they are in residence and they get every kind of help from counseling to their food and lodging, medical care, and like that. So the Amethyst also this NGO has also been looking for some kind of alternative method with which these women can get healed more quickly, more easily, without going through much series of tests and the regular things what you have here, like that. So their seriousness and their interest also turned out to be very good help for us. So the Amethyst supplied these women for our meditational practice, and the meditational practice is we conducted in such a way that starting from a very simple to then up to some kind of a way that they can get to see some kind of healing experience before actually they leave the meditational, before the course is completed, like that. So it's a 6 weeks course, and except on Saturdays and Sundays, they have to attend one morning session and another evening session. Morning session, every sessions I give little talk how to do the meditation, how to starting from the very beginning. Then also I give some inspirations how they can change their life, thinking in a better way and in a more positive way, and like that. So it's a 6 weeks program, and for the first 2 weeks we devoted on a meditational practice called meditation on breathing. So we just taught them how to sit and do the breathing meditation. So in the beginning it was kind of difficult for them because they have never sat and be kind of in a meditative posture, and we had a lot of difficulties. Even some of them could not sit for 2-3 minutes, in a more concentrated way. So then we just went on, inspiring them. You do it today, you'll be able to do it better tomorrow, and like that. And of course, within 2-3 days, they were able to sit quietly, sit calmly, and of course then we taught them to do the the breathing meditation. That very simple inhale and exhale meditation. That's just focusing, being mindful of breathing in, inhale breathing and exhale breathing. Very, very simple meditation. But if you haven't done it before, it's going to be a little bit hard in the beginning, because especially for them, their mind is emotionally disturbed, and they are so distracted from all these happenings. And so even to sit for a few minutes is a difficult thing. But being able to sit itself, I mentioned that, which I truly believe that they have done something incredible thing, being able to sit like that. Because being able to sit means they are now kind of getting to a more calmed situation, more tranquil situation, abiding tranquil situation. So we did 2 weeks of the breathing meditation, and then second week, in the second week for the next 2 weeks, we did a meditation called meditation on loving kindness. So using the same technique of breathing meditation, they are now supposed to focus on what is called as loving kindness, about how fortunate they are, how wonderful their life is in comparing with so many people in the world, right? They usually, we have a tendency of thinking, I'm so unfortunate, but then when we look around the world and compare yourself being with other more people, difficulties, who are going through more difficulties, then you are more fortunate. And I suggested them, here you have everything, there's someone who is taking care of you. You get food and lodging, and you get care. You get everything, in fact, from medical to everything. And your children are being cared. And so now, only thing that you have to do is you have to appreciate and rejoice in what you have, then go forward like that. And they really took it really very seriously. And then in 2 weeks, the next 2 weeks, they were able to appreciate what they have. And of course, not only that, they some of them even told me that what can I do for some other people, something like that, is there any way that I can do for other people like that? So then we had individually we do have a time for discussion and like that. So it went very, very well with the second next 2 sessions. And third session was a more of a serious practice, because in the third session we discussed about and I taught about the meditation on Tonglen, that is giving and taking. So in the beginning, in the third weeks, the last 2 weeks session, in the beginnings, some of them could not take it up because, thinking about suffering again, and some of them got kind of flashbacks. Then I said, those who cannot do this, just continue to meditate on loving kindness. But those who are able to engage in this practice, because it is really a good practice where you can cultivate empathy for others, about taking upon sufferings of others is about, having empathy and having compassion for others, and it is a good and powerful practice which can have a very powerful healing effect, not only for yourself but also for so many other people like that. So quite a number of them, I think most of them were able to do, Tonglen practice at the end. But for those who could not do, they just kept on doing meditation on loving kindness. So overall, in 6 weeks, really we have been able to achieve something, concrete result. The results that most of them had difficulty in sleeping, and now most of them were able to sleep better. Most of them had difficulty with their family relations, and quite a number of them are able to relate with their family members more peacefully, in a more non-violent way. And then, interestingly, those who have children, they found that their way of treating their kids are more of smooth more of gentle, and the kids also started to respond in a more positive way. So these are the emotional, I think, helps that they got out of these meditational practices. And then some of them even were able to go back to school because of this, getting really very much healed. And then some of them started to take jobs, from take new jobs and like that. So in this way, in both sessions, in all these sessions and all, in both batches of that we have, as I've been mentioning, in the batches of women, most of them really did really extremely very well. And what I feel is that this kind of meditational practice can be a very wonderful alternative method of healing, PTSD. Of course, I do feel that there is a necessity of counseling, of course, what you have in the West. And because in counseling too, you share what you share about thoughts, and there you have also many techniques of, dealing with these difficulties. And then in certain cases too, I really believe that some medications do help them. For example, in case of depression, for example, some of the depressions needed Western medical treatments with which they can get healed. And then on top of having, Western allopathic medical help, if you complement, these practices, and then this is going to be a very good, kind of holistic approach in healing the PTSD or traumatized people. That's what really I feel.